Like all hormones, estrogen is completely healthy to have in the body, but in proper amounts. The problem we have today is estrogen dominance in both men and women, causing the feminization of men and cancers in women. Don't be eating this stuff. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Nick Zyrowski, and you may not know this, but I actually started a new YouTube channel where I dissect current health news in order to give you the straight truth in today's complex world of health. I think you'll find a lot of value in this, so what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to this new channel, and after you learn about these estrogen-dominant foods, check out some of the videos. I think you'll find a lot of value in it. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally do not want high amounts of estrogen floating around in my body. It causes a lot of problems for males. It causes issues like low testosterone, which a lot of males face. It causes issues with prostate problems, and then also it just causes the overall feminization of the male body. I don't know if you had seen this recent video that I'd done on Dr. Z TV, but I had reviewed an article that was looking at the lake water causing male fish to become intersexed. What they're finding is that the male organs were actually starting to produce female eggs. Now, if you're a female, you're probably thinking, well, obviously this is a problem for men, but if you're a female, you're supposed to have all this estrogen floating around in your body. And the answer is yes, but still in proper and balanced amounts, because estrogen dominance causes a lot of problems for women as well, such as breast cancer, infertility, ovarian cysts, ovarian fibroids, and also some cervical cancer as well. And estrogen dominance is a big problem in women in general. So whether you're male or female, this is something that you have to take seriously. Now, the first food that I want to discuss is one that I believe is completely healthy. It's loaded with good probiotics, good enzymes. It's a good source of protein and good source of fat. But the fact is people consume way too much of it. This food is dairy. Now, let me be clear, I am not anti-dairy at all, but the fact is that the average American consumes 647 pounds of dairy every single year, and that is a lot of dairy. Now, when we look at where all the estrogen comes from in most of our food, it's estimated that 60 to 80% of the estrogen intake from food comes from dairy in Western societies. Now, just like when I talk about the average American consuming over 125 pounds of sugar per year, people go, nope, that's not me. I don't consume that much dairy. Well, the fact is you forget about all the different ways in which you consume it. Think about it. Milk, milk cream, sour cream, cream cheese, butter, yogurt. I mean, the list goes on. And if you look at a lot of the keto dieters out there, I mean, one of their primary food groups is dairy, enormous amounts of dairy. And so dairy is completely fine and healthy, as I mentioned, as long as we eat it in moderation. And we also want to make sure that we have good quality sources. We want to make sure that we eat organic whenever possible, and we always get grass-fed whenever possible as well. And we want to know the source of our dairy because a lot of these different farms are using growth hormones, and we know for many years they were just pumping these cows full of pharmaceuticals as well as the growth hormones, and then it was coming out into our food. So we have to be able to trust the source and also have a healthy source. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next food because it's a little bit controversial, especially in the realm of holistic health. And the reason for that is because there's so many different opinions and most people cannot agree on it. And then lastly, it's a little bit complex. And I'll read from you a little excerpt out of the research so that you can understand why this topic is complex. Researchers from North Carolina State University and the National Institute of Health point out the answer as to whether or not soy is healthy for people is undoubtedly complex and may ultimately depend on age, health status, level of consumption, and even the composition of an individual's intestinal microflora. Now, the bottom line is that soy is cheap and it's in abundance in agriculturally based countries. When it first came out, people were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. A cheap plant-based protein. They were making soy milk, soy bars, and even soy infant formula, and people loved it until they started to understand soy a little bit better. Soy is full of phytoestrogens. It also is something that is genetically engineered. It can withstand glyphosate. So they can just cover the crop with glyphosate, everything around it dies, but yet the soy thrives. Now, we all know that glyphosate is very toxic, but I want to read from you a little excerpt from the research about glyphosate as it pertains to estrogen. One of the things that we see is that it causes estrogenic activity that fuels certain hormone-dependent breast cancers. I mean, this is one of the reasons I'm also very uncomfortable with soy. So if you're going to consume soy, I think it needs to be organic. I also prefer it to be fermented and non-GMO. And that's about the only soy that I would ever recommend that somebody uses, and I still recommend that it's in moderation. Now I want to talk to you about a grouping of foods that is not directly causing estrogen dominance, but indirectly by impairing your liver's ability to work properly. That's right, we need our liver to function properly in order to clear out excess estrogen in the body. Now, when we look to foods that are going to impair our liver's ability to work well, we're first of all going to look to all those different toxic foods with a whole bunch of ingredients in there that we can't understand. If you can't understand the ingredients, then you likely shouldn't be eating it because it has a lot of toxic ingredients that can build up in the liver. But we also have to look to those different foods, such as the ones that are high sugar, empty calorie. They have things like high fructose corn syrup in it. We're thinking our sodas, our sweet teas, all those different drinks that people consume every day. But we also have to look to the high carb foods because this also is a prime candidate for causing some liver impairment. We're thinking the processed wheats such as bagels and breads and pastas and pastries and all the things that people consume every day in excess. Now, America's on track to have a 60% obesity rate by the year 2030. I know, can you believe it? Here I thought we were going in a positive direction. It turns out we went the exact opposite. There was one study that actually showed the lockdowns, the shutdowns. When people were forced to stay home and they closed all the gyms, what happened is that people on average gained 2 pounds per month. Now, one thing we know is that when people have issues with obesity, they also have fatty liver. Fatty liver impairs the ability for the liver to function properly. And as a result, you can't clear out this extra estrogen, these extra hormones. You become estrogen dominant. Now, aside from these foods, there's a few other things I want you to look for in order to protect yourself. First, let's look to your drinking water because we were talking about those lakes having a lot of estrogen in them and the fish were becoming intersexed. The male fish were developing female eggs in their organs. That's not supposed to happen. Well, we have to be very careful with our drinking water. The fact is that because so many people are taking pharmaceuticals and so many women are on birth control, there's a lot of estrogen that is being dumped into the water system, and it doesn't just disappear. It goes into underground streams, it ends up in our lakes, it ends up in your drinking water. So we want to make sure that we have good, pure drinking water. Filter your water, get good stuff. Now, as we're talking about water, it's very important to make sure that we're using BPA-free water containers, okay? So first of all, get away from all the plastics. One of the things my wife and I did, we removed all the plastics from our home when we started eating healthy. I literally remember throwing stacks of plastic containers away that we had in our cupboards that we would store food in. We'd have plastic cups we were drinking out of. We got rid of all the plastic. Switch to some stainless steel, switch to some glass. It's going to be a far better way to go because the BPA within the plastics causes issues. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, I made sure that my plastics are BPA free. The fact is that there's still BPS. There is still other chemicals in there that can mimic estrogen and actually have an impact on the estrogenic receptor cell function in the body. So we have to make sure that we're just getting rid of plastics altogether. Now, for women on birth control, this is obviously another big factor causing estrogen dominance. This is why a lot of women over time start to have some issues if they've been on birth control for a long period of time. So those are a few things we're going to look to cleaning up in order to reduce estrogen dominance in our body. Now, there's a few other things that we can do because we talked about how not only do we have to remove this stuff, but our liver becomes a problem. We can work to optimize liver function. The first thing that we can do is we can consume more cruciferous vegetables. They optimize liver function. And then you can also look to getting some good liver support. Okay, there's some different nutrients and vitamins that you can take in order to optimize the liver's ability to properly have the phase 1 and phase 2 detox systems clear out estrogen. Now, those nutrients are going to be things like alpha-lipoic acid, selenium, N-acetylcysteine, and also milk thistle. They work very well. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to a vitamin supplement that I use that does just that. So we know estrogen's bad for us and we have to avoid it at all costs. It's just one of those pieces to the puzzle when it comes to good health, right? I mean, Sometimes it seems that good health is so complex, but the fact is we just have to pick away at these things one day at a time. If you've recognized that you drink out of plastic and you have plastics in the home, get rid of them, clean up these different foods from your diet, and you're gonna be well on your way to great health. Give this video a thumbs up and share with me your thoughts in the comments below, and then check out my other videos that can help you improve your life.